Hey, in this episode, we are diving into a fascinating and sometimes overlooked topic in the science of hunger. That is, what does fiber do to hunger? If you've been wondering, if you've been following, if you've been staying tuned, we've been talking about the science of hunger. And, a lot of times people will say that, I feel okay. And then, mid afternoon, the hunger pangs happen and that makes me eat and I snack and it's harder. Well, in this episode, we're going to be talking about precisely that and how fasting and fiber can play a part in your hunger and in your appetite. We're talking about what fiber can do, how it can revolutionize how you manage hunger, and how it can support you in your health goals. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to get off of medication, who want to improve their health. In fact, who want to go on a path for a new person, a new them, a new you in this year. Hey, if you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments as well, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music and let you know that we're happy that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat, in the comments, because we'd love to see those and answer them for you. Make sure you put a Q in front of the question so that as I'm looking through, I'll know that that's one that that is a question and not just a comment. Also, as you know that we do on this show, we have right over here, I've got my glucose monitors that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. I've got my Keto Moja and my Contour. And then right down below me is my Dexcom Clarity Report that we'll take a look at in just a little while. Whatever platform you're joining us from, we are glad that you're here, whether you are on, let's go through them. So Instagram, TikTok, no, not TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, of course, and then, of course, here on YouTube. Glad that you are joining us. And I do see some of our community members out there, so let me hop over and say hello to you. Let's see. Let's go over here. And so I see Juyeon there. Hi, doctor, she says. And Juyeon said, it's been a while dealing with delivery. Oh, so sorry again. So she's talking about, we just had our community meetup a little while ago. Pamela says hello. Gian says hi, Pam. And of course, Pam is saying hi to Gian. So if you missed our community meetup today, you want to make sure that you join us in the future. We have one every month where we come together, get to talk about what's going on in our lives, what successes we're having. We get some coaching in that space so that we can deal with some issues that we may be having questions about or other things that are happening. But you want to make sure that you join us as we move into our community meetup. We'll have another one coming up next month. The date will be changed because of the holidays that are coming up, but we'll let you know when that is. It is the same link, so if you've signed up before, you can just go back to that link and sign up for that one as well. Okay? So glad that you're here. So what are we doing in this space? Why are we doing what we're doing? And I am right now, let's see, 48 hours, a little over 48 hours, 48 hours and 6 minutes, actually, in my fast for, actually, no, 49 hours, sorry, 49 hours into my fast for this week. As you know, I do a fast once a week. So why am I doing that? That's why we're doing this show. The New Year, New You process is a journey that we've been on, that we continue on, that is with the intention of reversing diabetes. As you heard me say at the top of the show, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, improve their metabolic health, get off of medication, and set themselves up for metabolic success into the future. That's what we're talking about. However, as we're talking to those people, one of the tools that we've learned is the tool of fasting. In fact, we learned several tools, right? We learned how to be emotionally intelligent. We learned about mindful eating. We learned about creating a balanced meal, right? Balanced bites is a concept that we've coined here on the show. So all of these are tools that we're using in the process of reversing our diabetes. One of the most powerful tools is the tool of fasting, because fasting hits all three of the pillars that go along with reversing diabetes. That is, decreasing our insulin, suppressing our appetite, and reducing our sugar. All three of those are hit by fasting. And so we want to know, how do we fast successfully? And that's the space that we're in. So on our Dwain Woode MD Live on Mondays, we go through the path. We're walking through the journey of reversing diabetes, of the new year, new you. And then on our check-ins, we talk about how we can fast successfully. What are some tips, some tricks, some hacks? What are some concepts that we need to understand if we're going to be successful? And that's where we are right now. In this last several weeks, we've been doing a mini series in the fasting process, and that is the science of hunger. Hunger is that one thing, that piece of that rock that is in our garden that can throw us off the path. It is that thing that if we can control it, if we understand it, if we can put things in place, then it can set us up for success as we move into the fasting space. And if we can be successful with the fasting, then we can be successful with our metabolic disease. Now, you're sitting out there, you're watching, and you're scratching your head, and you're saying, wait a minute, I'm not diabetic. And so is this really for me? And the answer is yes. So diabetes is the prototypic metabolic disease. What that means is that diabetes has components and it affects so many other metabolic diseases. And if we can do a good job of managing, treating, reversing diabetes, then those same tools, those same things that we're doing can be extrapolated into other areas like polycystic ovarian syndrome, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, coronary artery disease, fatty liver, metabolic syndrome, and on and on and on and on. So just because you're not diabetic doesn't mean that this is not for you. It can be used in any of those metabolic spaces to get improvement in your metabolic disease. And so that's what we're doing here. And we'll come back. We'll talk more about that as we move through the rest of the show. Whenever you are doing anything, whenever you want to change anything, whenever you want to process, whenever you want to improve, it's important to do a check-in. And on a daily basis, when we come on each episode, we do a check-in. And the check-in is really, how am I feeling in the fasting space with physical, how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. These are three of the areas where people will have their most difficult times. And so it is where I want to spend some time talking about how I'm doing in this space. And as we do our extended, as we do our full discussion on fasting tomorrow, we'll go more into this, but we'll do a check-in here so you get to hear and see some of those things. So let's start, right? Physically. Fasting is not just a abstinence of food. It is not just you not eating, but fasting encompasses so many other parts of you. It takes into consideration how you're doing physically, mentally, and emotionally, because you've got to prepare for those things if you're going to be successful, right? We'll talk about how to prepare for that as we do our review tomorrow. But in order to be successful, right, there are some things that we want to do to set ourselves up physically to be okay. We got to get good rest. And so right now, I'm feeling a little tired. I went to bed a little later last night than the night before. Remember, the night before, I probably got a good 9 or 10 hours of sleep. Last night, not so much. Probably more like 4. No, I shouldn't say 4. Probably about 5.5 hours. So I'm feeling a little tired today. But I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. I'm not feeling palpitations. Those are some of the things that people will say that they feel when they're fasting. Often is because they're not rested, like me, and they're not hydrated. That will show up as lightheadedness, dizziness, also show up as palpitations, because as the heart is trying to maintain the same volume of blood going through and maintain the same amount of oxygen, same amount of nutrients, then it has to speed up to take into consideration the fact that you've not done a good job of remaining hydrated. Okay, so often people will feel that. Also, if we're not well rested, when the body goes about switching from one energy source to another, carbohydrates to ketones, we feel that as a dip. And people say, hey, my energy is dipped. But I'm not feeling any of that right now. I don't feel like I'm walking through mud or molasses or quicksand. I'm feeling pretty energetic. And then mentation, right? How am I feeling mentally? Feeling pretty good. I could tell I'm a little tired, but I feel clear. I don't feel like as though I'm in a bubble or I'm in a fog or I'm not feeling kind of foggy headed, as sometimes people say, or in a tunnel. I think, yeah, I think my mentation is doing well. Remember, that also goes along with the physical. So if you're not feeling well physically, then that will show up with how you're thinking. And then finally, emotionally. And emotionally, this all ties in. So when we're tired, when we can't think straight, think well, then our emotions get involved. And right now I'm excited. I'm actually a little pumped because we just finished our community meetup for this month and had a great time there talking with some of the community members and just sharing where we are in our journey on improving our metabolic health. Once again, if you've not done that, you got to make sure you join us for the next one. But right now, feeling emotionally excited. I'm going to feel even more elated when I get off of this after I finish talking here. I often say you can screw a light bulb into my mouth after I've done a show, and the light bulb would light up because that's the amount of energy that I get from you, from our community. All right, so that is how I'm doing in terms of my check-in. Let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at what was going on with my blood sugars. And here you'll see this is my Freestyle Libre. This is a Libre 3, I think this is a Libre 3 Plus. And you see that my blood sugar right now is 92, according to that. The white squiggly line that you'll see there that goes across kind of the mid of the bottom, those are my blood sugars. And you'll see that my blood sugar was, for the last 12 hours, below 150. And then, of course, for the last roughly 6 hours, maybe, let's see, roughly 6 hours, it's actually been 100 or lower. 100 or lower. I was going to say 70 or lower. And then let's take a look. This is my Dexcom. And the Dexcom for the last 12 hours kind of shows the same pattern where we were. Let's see if I can get that going. There we go. So 150, 149 for most of the afternoon. And then right about, let's see, when did we finally drop below 100? Yeah, this doesn't show me dropping below 100 until, did I actually ever drop below 100? Let's see that. No, it's just kind of hovered right around a little above 100. If I go back to 24 hours, you'll see back here we were in the 130s, and right about 5:30 this morning, I think that's probably a combination of dawn phenomenon and my toothpaste, right? So I went back to using that toothpaste, and you'll see that spike right there. And then for the rest of the day, we were coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down. Okay? All right. So now let's take a look at what my monitors are showing. And I've got a Keto Mojo, and I've got the Contour. So let's go ahead and get a strip out here. This is for the Contour. Get one in there. And then the Keto Mojo gives me both the ketone and blood sugar. So I'm going to start with the blood sugar. Open that one up first. Get that strip here. And I'm going to go ahead and open this one up as well so I can just have it ready on the side. And then get over to my trusty container, and we're going to grab a lancet. And this is just a twist off, right? So just turn this part right here, and the cover comes off, and you'll see, I don't know if you can see right there, the little needle, right? And let's go ahead, and we're going to just grab a spot there, and ow, 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 ow. I could tell that that's going in. All right, hopefully I got a good drop of blood, and we did. All right, let's go ahead and see what that's going to show. So that's the contour, sorry, the Keto Mojo. Go ahead and get the contour started. And we'll see. So 84 for the Keto Mojo, and 85 here, and then 90 you'll see. Let's put that back on the screen. So 90, let's do this one. 90 you'll see there. I'm keeping this drop of blood going because I want to get my ketone strip in. There we go. And go ahead and get that one started. All right, and we'll see what that is in just a minute. And as is usual, I'm going to tease you guys because I'm not going to show you what that's going to show. We'll come back to that in just a little while. If you think you know what my ketones are going to be, if you have a guess, go ahead and drop that in the chat. Okay. All right. So let's see. And let's hop back over because I see. Let's see. Jion is saying. Let's grab this one. She said, "I'm suffering from food addiction. I want to cure my food addiction disease." Yeah, so Jion, that is a very real thing. So for those of you who are out there, there is several years ago I joined a recovery group. So there are programs out there. There are groups out there that help with recovery, with addiction, and so that is something that you can check into. I shouldn't say try. For a lot of people, it actually is a great place to begin this journey, right? Because there are some places where we need some additional help, additional benefit, additional help, additional support to get us through. Glad that you are part of this community and we get to rally around and get to work with you. All right. So let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's have a conversation. So we've been talking about the science of hunger, and this is episode number 6. In that we have done just general talking about hunger and the hormones that go along with it, and then talking about ketones and proteins and fats and how they affect it. And tonight we're talking about fiber. So what about fiber in hunger as we move through this space? Okay, so what about fiber? And the question that we want to first ask is, well, what is fiber? What is fiber? Okay, let's start with that. So fiber is a type of carbohydrate. Okay, fiber is a type of carbohydrate, but unlike other carbs, it's not digested by the body. So all the other carbohydrates, when we eat them, the body takes them in, it breaks it down, and it digests. But fiber, on the other hand, does not get digested by the body. Instead, it moves through the digestive system, and it does some amazing functions, some amazing tasks as it goes along the way. Right? So there are two main types of fibers. There is soluble and then insoluble. So soluble fibers are, they dissolve in water, and they form kind of a gel-like substance in the stomach, and this helps to slow the digestion, right? And you'll begin to hear a theme, right? So remember, as we're talking about feeling fuller longer, affecting things like ghrelin and leptin and some of the other hormones, right? This feeling of fullness is very important. So as the soluble fiber is dissolved in water, when you take it in, it gets dissolved in water, it forms this gel, and that gel slows the digestion. And we like that, right? We like that because that helps us feel fuller longer. So insoluble is the other type of fiber. And on the other hand, as opposed to soluble, it just adds bulk to the stools, and it keeps everything moving, right? So soluble slows things down, but insoluble is just adds bulk, and it keeps things moving along the way. And both types of fiber are crucial, are important for health, and they play unique roles in the hunger management. Fiber is usually found in whole foods, right? Usually found in whole foods. And so that is what fiber is. So as you talk about fiber, as you hear about fiber, it is a carbohydrate, but it is not one that is easily, or it's not digested by the system, by the body. So how does fiber work? How does fiber work, and how does it impact our hunger? So first, it is physically in the stomach, and it expands your stomach. Right? So fiber expands the stomach. This signals the brain, remember that ghrelin? It signals the brain that we are full. So soluble fibers are always there to slow the rate at which food moves through the stomach. And when it slows it, then the body says, hey, I'm fuller, I feel full, so I don't have to eat. So when we add fiber to our meals, it helps us to feel fuller longer from that food that we eat. Think about when you eat something like a cookie, right? You eat a cookie. When you eat it, soon after, boom, done. You're feeling hungry again. But if you eat something that has lots of fiber, like you eat greens, you eat lots of vegetables, you eat some fruits, then you feel fuller longer because the fruit, the vegetables, the greens, they have fiber. And that fiber is helping to slow food, first of all, and it keeps things full, and so you feel like you're fuller. And the next thing it does, it helps to stabilize blood sugar. Yeah, there it is, right? So fiber helps to stabilize blood sugar because when it slows the GI tract, it slows the absorption of sugar. And when we slow the absorption, then we don't get those spikes. So this prevents those hunger crashes, hunger pangs, prevents those cravings that people will have when the blood sugars are fluctuating. If you have fiber, if you have that bulk, if you have that slowing, then it helps you feel fuller longer, delays the spiking, and when it delays the spiking, we don't have to have as much insulin, not as much insulin, and so we don't get those fluctuations and those cravings. Okay? And then finally, fiber feeds good bacteria in your gut. And those good bacteria produce compounds that help to regulate some of the hormones that we have in our body, like ghrelin and leptin. So it's a win-win when we have fiber in our diet. So it slows things down, it gives us bulk, it helps us feel fuller longer, it slows the absorption of sugar, and it helps to feed the bacteria, the good bacteria that's in our gut. And all of those help to impact our hunger. Okay? So how does fiber? That's how fiber impacts hunger. Okay. So what are some of the best foods for us to get fiber from? Some of the best foods, and there are lots. And this is a place, when we talk about balanced bites, right? Balanced bites. Remember, balanced bites. We're fueling the body. We're fueling our body with balanced bites. Every bite counts, right? You've heard me say that over and over and over again. But when we talk about balanced bites, and we talk about starchy and non-starchy vegetables, we talk about whole foods, decreasing the processing, right? One of the reasons for decreasing processing or minimize processing is that we maintain the fiber that's in food. Sometimes when we have food that has fiber and we process it, what we do is we pulverize the fiber that's there, so the fiber does not work as well. And you'll see here in a minute, I have got a slide where we talk about smoothies, right? We'll come back, we'll talk about that in a minute. But foods that are rich in fiber, we want to make sure that we are maintaining the wholeness, right? The whole food. Because sometimes when we break it down, then we lose some of the fiber that goes along with it. That's one of the ideas behind the balanced bites. Because remember, balanced bites are whole foods, right? Minimizing processing and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's talk then about some of the best sources for fiber as we're trying to control our hunger. So some sources, right? So when we talk about fruits, right? Apples, oranges, and berries. You've heard the phrase, or you may have heard the phrase, I say it sometimes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Do you know why they used to say that? Because apples, when you eat apples, you're getting all the nutrients from it. You're getting the carbs that are in it, but you're also getting fiber. And that fiber is good to help move things through, is good to help you stay satiated longer, right? So you get that fiber. Another one, carrots. Sorry, well, let me go back to fruit. So apples, oranges, lots of fiber, and then berries, right? When we talk about berries, we're talking about things like blueberries, which have more fiber than something like a strawberry, right? So you kind of look through those and see which ones have the higher fiber. And the thing here is what's beautiful is that you get to experiment. You get to look at and enjoy some fruits that you may not normally have looked at. Yeah. Now, some people eat the same fruits all the time. Well, apples are good, but how about adding some berries in there? Because berries have a lot of fiber compared to some of the other fruits that you will eat. And then vegetables, right? Things like broccoli and carrots and leafy greens, right? So broccoli and leafy greens, of course, fall into the non-starchy vegetables. Now, if you look at some lists, they'll also include carrots in non-starchy vegetables. We're not going to quibble over that, but they do add fiber. They add a lot of bulk, right, to your food. As you know, if you've ever grated a carrot or anything like that, or even if you've eaten a carrot, then you got to be careful with how many you eat, how many carrots, but, right, they also have bulk. And then, of course, whole grains. So oats, quinoa, and brown rice all will add, are good sources. Now, when we talk about the grains, and I guess, is it a good place to have a conversation about grains? So depending on the processing of the grain, right? Notice it says whole grains. Depending on the processing of the grain, then you can also be destroying some of the fiber that is part of that grain. So you want to make sure that you're doing whole grains. That's one of the reasons people talk about bleached products like bleached rice, white rice, for example, which is stripping away some of the fiber that's there. And if you do that, then you're kind of losing the benefit of some of that. Okay, there is. And brown rice, when you're looking at the labels, when you're looking at the product, you want to be careful because sometimes some things will be labeled as brown rice and it's actually bleached, but not bleached as much. Okay, so yeah. It's an interesting game that they sometimes play. And then of course legumes, things like lentils, chickpeas, black beans, all will provide all are good sources of fiber. And then the one that I love, nuts, right? So they have good fiber, but you also have to be careful with them because they have lots of calories, right? So depending on the types you eat, almonds, chia seeds, flax seeds, all of those will have good fiber. And so incorporating these foods into your diet can make a huge difference in the fiber, the amount of fiber that you're getting, and the how satisfied you feel throughout the day. So, and we'll give some strategies here in a minute, but if you're adding that to your meals, then you're setting yourself up for success. Remember, we talked a little bit yesterday about strategies. Right, so it's not a matter of just, okay, I'm going to do it. You've got to put things in place that will help you be successful in doing the things that you want to do in terms of health. Okay, so those are some good places to get fiber, some of the best foods. So how then do you incorporate fiber into your meal, right? So how do you incorporate fiber? Well, here are some tips. One, you can add vegetables to every meal. So add vegetables to every meal. So if you think of spinach in your eggs or roasted broccoli with your dinner, so begin thinking, right? We just came through a list of good places to get starch. So as you are planning your meals, as you are prepping, we talked about meal prep as a strategy. So as you're prepping, begin adding begin adding fiber to your meals by adding vegetables to those meals. And they can be very delicious, right? So adding broccoli to a salad, adding, like you see there, spinach to eggs. All of those are good ways to do that. Next, start your day with high fiber breakfast. Things like oatmeal, where you've added chia seeds or some other source of fiber. And you'll see there, well, you don't see it there, but you'll see that sometimes people will talk about smoothies. Now, smoothies are a good source of vitamins, of nutrients, some fiber compared to some of the other things that we drink. Okay, so we're talking relative. So smoothie is better than you just gobbling down or throwing back 2 glasses of apple juice or orange juice, right? Because it has more bulk, more fiber. But with the smoothie, the issue is when we put the smoothie into the blender and we blend it up, what we're doing is we're pulverizing the fiber that's in the fruit or the vegetables that we've put into the smoothie, right? So we're saying that we want fiber, but when we put the vegetables and the fruits into the smoothie and we blend it, what we're doing is we're pulverizing them so that we're actually decreasing the fiber value of the food that of the smoothie that you're drinking at that point. Okay, so be careful with smoothies, and that's why a lot of people will add things like chia seeds or other seeds to it, because now we bulk it up and we get to see the benefits of that because we're adding that back in, right? And then the other thing that you can do is swap out refined carbs for whole grains. And we talked about the processing a minute ago in terms of rice, right? So a lot of times they'll or flour, right? Those whole grains, they'll bleach the flour, they'll refine the rice, and that's why we get the white flour and the white rice. So instead of doing that, use the brown rice. And when you do the brown rice, make sure that you are getting the whole brown rice and not just rice that's not as bleached, but it's still bleached. You get the idea? Because it's a different levels of bleaching, and sometimes people will say, "Oh, this is brown rice," but it's actually almost bleached rice, but it's not as bleached as the white rice that you get. So swap out refined carbs for whole grains like brown rice instead of white rice. And here's a pro tip: add, as you increase your fiber, right? Increase your fiber, and this is a good one. You want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water so that you can avoid discomfort. Because when you have the bulk, right, the bulk can cause the stools to get a little harder. It can make it a little bit, because people aren't used necessarily to the bulk, so it feels like a little discomfort. But when you add water to that, when you're drinking lots of water, it helps to flush that out, keeps everything moving, and keeps it relatively soft so that you're not having issues when you're trying to eliminate. Okay? So all of those, and once again, you should be drinking water anyway, right? We talked about strategies for helping with hunger, and one of them is to make sure you're getting enough water. And water, we recommend about half of your poundage, your weight, in ounces. So if you're 200 pounds, you want to drink 100 ounces of water. Remember, 1 gallon is 128 ounces. So just to give you a marker, and relatively speaking, so you'll know where you are. Okay. So how do we incorporate? So we want to add veggies to each meal. You want to choose high fiber breakfast. Watching, of course, the smoothies. Add chia seeds to whatever you're doing. Opt for whole grains rather than refined. And then, of course, you want to stay hydrated. So what are some practical things, right? So practical things that we want to share. So wrap up. So number one, so fiber is a secret weapon. It is a secret weapon for hunger, because when you have fiber in your food, when you have fiber in your meals, it slows the digestion, number one. right? So things are moving through slower, so you feel fuller longer. It stabilizes blood sugar, so you don't get that big absorption. You don't get those spikes, right? It balances hunger hormones because when you feel full, then the signal goes to the brain, right? Leptin is, it's not leptin, but ghrelin is saying, hey, I don't have to be produced as much, so I'm not sending a signal to the brain, hey, I need to eat, I need to eat, I need to eat. And then leptin also is signaled that, hey, I don't need to have any more. I don't need to go out. I'm satiated. I'm feeling full. Okay? Balances hunger hormones. The other thing is you can easily incorporate fiber into your meals with whole grain fruits, whole grain vegetables, whole grains, legumes, right? So you want to opt for those fruits that will give bulk and fruits that will give you fiber. Remember, fiber doesn't just help with the feelings of being full, it supports gut health, right? Remember those good bacteria? It boosts your metabolism and it helps to regulate the appetite over time. Right, so all those things are things that fiber will do. So as we talk about the science of hunger, right? So there are hormones that are being regulated by how full we are, by the composition of the food that we're eating, the timing of the food that we're eating, right? So there are hormones that are being regulated. When we have different compositions like fat and proteins, and now we've added fiber. When we add those, remember proteins, when we have foods that have proteins, we have that PYY, right? That protein YY, that signals fullness. When we have fats, we have the CCK that signals that we're not hungry. When we have ketones now, ketones will regulate the hunger hormone and the satiety hormone. Right, because we have a steady source of ketones, beta hydroxybutyrate, which the body likes. Good source, good clean energy. And then, of course, now we're adding fiber, and fiber gives bulk for one, right? So it just bulks up the food that we're eating so that our body, our stomach is stretched. And so the hunger hormone, right? Remember, when our stomach is stretched, then the hunger hormone doesn't get produced as much. It actually decreases. So the signal that I'm hungry goes down. Right, so that's the one thing. The next thing it does, it slows the food as it moves through your stomach. Remember, that's the soluble versus insoluble. So the soluble will turn into a gel and it slows the digestive system. When it slows, it also decreases the spikes that you get because the sugar, the carbs are not absorbed as readily, and so you don't get those big spikes. So it stabilizes those fluctuations that sometimes people will feel. So if you're feeling like you're hitting a wall in the afternoon and you're having low energy, this is a good way to help to stabilize that. Some protein in your meals, some fiber in your meals. You fasting is a great way to do, metabolic flexibility and so forth. But all of this is with helping you to understand the science behind hunger. Because if we put things in place, if we have structure, if we have strategies, then we set ourselves up for success. Often we don't succeed, not because we don't have drive, we don't have know-how, we don't have a dream, we don't have a desire. We often don't succeed because we don't have structure, we don't have a plan, we don't have a thing in place to help us go through the process of doing what we need to do. Okay, all right, and so that is our sixth episode in the science of hunger. I got some messages from some folks who said there's a couple of other topics they want us to talk about. We'll come back probably at a different time and do those, or we may pick this up again and add those. But if you have things specifically that you want us to talk about, go ahead and send those in, because you are one of the ways that we are moving through this process, because I want to be mindful of what you need so that we can add those into our process as we move through this area. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's see. I do see some community members out there, and let's see. So Jennifer is saying howdy. Let's see. Let's do it on here. I'm going to put it up. Of course, Jennifer saying howdy, and Pam is saying hi, Jennifer. So everybody's kind of greeting each other. And Teresa is just saying, hey, doctor, and everyone. I do apologize. She had to leave the community meetup today. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Teresa. We understand. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us when you did. And so we are always excited to have our community members there. And I love what Jennifer's saying. Family comes first. Glad you did make part of it. Yes, glad that you did make part of it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at my let's take a look at my report. All right, we'll come back. We'll take a look at what my monitors, my ketones actually is the one that we're going to be looking at. So I've got my keto mojo there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the blood sugars on my monitor. And let's go ahead and grab this one. And you'll see there on the screen, my average blood sugar is 141. This is for the last 2 weeks. I am in target 83% of the time, target being 70 to 180. My glucose management indicator is a 6.7 if I were to get blood sugars based or get an A1C based on this. If I look at the last 14 days, or last 90 days, sorry, this was 14 days, you'll see there my average is 132. In target 89% of the time. Target still 70 to 180. And you recall that I actually changed my actual device so that it alerts me at 150 rather than 180 because I want to know sooner what my blood sugars are. And then my glucose management indicator, 6.5. If we got an A1C, it would approximate that. Let's go ahead and take a look at blood sugars as we go through the last few days as we've been fasting. And so started fasting, so I'm 48 hours now. So starting fasting in here, right? So look at that, right about here. So 260. I think that was eggnog. I think I shared that with you guys. And then right in here was last night at 120. And then right now we're in the 1-teens. Now I do want to make a couple of comments, right, about this. And you'll see that normally when I'm fasting, within 24 hours, right, when I'm fasting, if I've not had anything that was high in carbs, within 24 hours, my blood sugars are usually below 100, if you guys remember going back. But if you look at this, because this day I came into the fast having eaten something high in carbs. Look, this is about 1:30, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And going into the next day, 11, 1 o'clock, right, 2 o'clock, right? So that's 24 hours. And my blood sugar did not drop below 100. As a matter of fact, it didn't drop below 100 until sometime today. Let's see, where did we go below 100? Right, actually, according to this one, it didn't drop below 100, right? So notice what happened, right? So the carbohydrates that I ate, right, highly processed, those carbohydrates had a significant effect on blood sugar and effect on the fasting process. So that's a key for everybody to understand. And so this is where we often will talk about maintaining what you're doing, right? So it's not okay, I got it, I'm done, and now forever everything is going to be peachy keen. It is, you are in a process. There are times, just like there, where you're going to eat things that will cause the blood sugar to go up. There are going to be times you're on vacation, it's anniversary, which holidays, and we did a show, our last show was about holidays, right? So all those things will happen. And as you're doing that, you want to understand what the downstream issues are that you're going to have. So as you get back into the fasting, right, it may take you a little longer to get to the point where your blood sugars drop to where you want them to be, or even that it takes longer to get into ketosis. Typically, ketosis will get there, 18 to 24 hours. But if you have had highly processed foods, high carb food, refined sugars, then it may take you 24, 36 hours, right, to get there. Like in this case, it took me a little longer to get below 100. Okay? All right. And then now let's hop over and let's see, what do you think my ketones are going to be? Let's see. Let's grab this one. So here is my, actually, let's do this one. So here is my Keto Mojo. We'll get that strip out of there. Turn that one on. And then let's go grab, here is my Keto Mojo app. So I've got that on, and it should come up here in a minute. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and make it sync. You know what? I think I still have that. I think I told you that this light is a Wi-Fi light. And so when I come on, I change to that network. Okay, here we are. There we go. And so now I need to change back. All right, so there we are. We got that on. And let's see if we're syncing. So we're syncing, and there we are, right. So glucose of 84, that's what the monitor said, and my ketones are 1.4. 1.4. I didn't remember if anyone put a guess in the chat. No, I don't see a guess, but 1.4. When we talk about ketones, remember ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. And so, well, let's take a look at this, and then we'll make a couple of comments. Let's see. So we're here. Let's say all of those graphs. Let's take a look. Okay, there we are. So here is blood sugar and ketones. So as I ate when we broke our fast last time, so as I ate, the blood sugars went up. So it was 75 and it goes up to 132. As a result of that, insulin has to come out, and insulin is going to manage the blood sugar. And when insulin comes out, my ketones have to go down. So they went from 1.3 down to 0.1. And then as I started eating again, or as I started fasting, we get to where we are now. If I can get back over there, readings, dashboard, go back to my dashboard, not that one. Here we go. Now we have ketones of 1.4, right? So blood sugar is going down, ketones are coming up. Remember, ketones and glucose, or ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. It's like matter and antimatter. They kind of cancel each other out. So as I'm eating and my blood sugars are going up, then the ketones are going down because the insulin is coming out. One of the things that I've done or tried to do over the course of my fast, and when I get to the end of the fast, is try to maintain ketosis a little longer. So even though I'm eating calories, I try not to eat so many carbs so that my body continues to burn, because when it does, this thing right here, right, gets smaller. And that's a big deal for me and some of us. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's go back and let's take a look at our community and see what we've got going on there. Let's see. Let's grab. We'll come over in a minute. Okay. Let's see. So we said, Jennifer said, Teresa, family comes first. Teresa said, thanks all. Jennifer, Julian said, Jennifer, you have warm heart. Yes, she does. Just got home, says Teresa, and need to prep for bed and work tomorrow, so I'll just listen. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming through. Gian said, Doctor, what is eggnog? Oh, my goodness. You don't know eggnog. So, Gian, I shouldn't even tell you what eggnog is, because if I do, man, you might fall in love with this. Should I even? So, eggnog is this wonderful, delicious beverage that's made from milk and eggs. Actually, I guess you can make it from custard and eggs and spices, and it is delicious. and I gotta stop talking about it because my brain is going down the road. Jennifer said, "Thank you, Gian. I was happy to meet you tonight, or for you this morning." Yes. Gian said, "Same here. I was so happy to see you face to face." She said, "It is my lunchtime now. I eat sweet potato bread, which I made, and we want to get some of that. So we need to make a trip. And a bit of burger patty, which my husband left over, so ended up couldn't make the fast. Yeah. So that sounds delicious. Remember, it is a progress. It is progress, right? She said, I planned 48-hour fasting, but I'm eating now. John said, wow, what a lovely eggnog. Yes, what a lovely eggnog. And Jennifer has all of those delicious looking eggs that she could get to us so we can begin making some. All right. All right. So that is our check-in. That is our series, our mini-series that we did on the science of hunger. Hunger is so important. It is the place where we often find our difficulty, and that falls right in line with our triggers, right? So remember, as we talk about triggers, and let me come back here for a minute, as we talk about triggers and hunger, when we talk about hunger, we are talking about physiological hunger or psychological hunger. That is the one that causes us probably the most distress. Hunger that is physiologic is hunger that says my body needs energy. But when it's psychological, then it's something that has been formed based on habits, emotions, access, and taste, and we want to make sure that we are dealing with this. So all the strategies that we're doing, the thoughts that we're having, the progress that we're doing, the things we're putting in place is to deal with hunger in general, but specifically, often we're having to deal with the hunger that comes from right here, the psyche. Okay? And so the things that will push us to eat, of course, are given by our triggers, our food triggers, habits, emotions, access, and taste, the routines that we find ourselves in, the times when we eat just because that's what we do, the emotions that come up, the anger, the loneliness, the frustration, the sadness, the depression, the boredom even that comes up that forces us to eat. Often we are just grabbing stuff mindlessly because we feel bored, because we don't have anything to do. So if you're one that you find yourself bored, then get some friends, right? Find a hobby, learn a new skill, do a new certification, do something so that you can make sure that you're distracted. In fact, when we talk about fasting, one of the things that we say is to find things to distract you during the fast, so that your brain is distracted, because when it is, then it's less likely that it's going to push you in the direction of eating, to get off your fast, to break your meal plan, whatever it is, whatever the decision you've made in terms of health. We also eat because of access, right? Because we've not taken things away from our area, from our space, there are those things that are there. I shared with our community during our community meetup that you will often hear me say, I took such and such and I threw it away. Yes, people say, well, why did you buy it in the first place? I bought it in the first place because of this stuff right here, habits, emotions, access, and taste. But once I got it home, I may have eaten some of it, I may have drank some of it, right? Like I drank some eggnog, and then, right, that cope kicked in and said, hey, if I'm going to be successful, I've got to clean this area. I've got to get this stuff out of here. So go to the trash and I throw it out. Okay, so access. If you became stressed, if you became angry, if you became anxious, if you became bored, but stuff wasn't there, the likelihood of you eating it goes down. Now, you can always get up and go buy some, but that's more work that you've got to do. And that is a benefit. If you've got to get up and go do more work to get what you need, that sets you up for success. Because a lot of times we will say, okay, I won't do that. Or in the process of getting it, we jump into, the cope model picks up and takes over, and we say, okay, I'm not going to get that. I went to, I shared with you, was it last week? I think broke the fast after 24 hours, 26 hours. And I went back to that store. I sat in the driveway, or sat in the parking lot. Sat there for about a good 15 minutes, right? Called a friend, on the phone. And I did that long enough so that my brain, the prefrontal cortex, said, okay, you don't need this. And I drove away. Okay? So make sure you're doing that. And then, of course, taste. The perfect combination of fat, sugar, and salt. Those three things. When the manufacturer makes the food, they want you to say, I can't just have one, we're coming back. And that's called the bliss point. When that happens, we love the taste of the thing that we're eating. But remember, we're not necessarily chasing the taste. We're not chasing the food. We're chasing what it does, the supposed calm that it brings. One of our community members tonight was sharing about the calm that happens when he had some Snicker bars, right? Yeah, or Milky Way, or whatever your eggnog for me. The memory that it brings back. That's what we're chasing. And so if we can deal with that, then we don't necessarily have to worry about the taste. Because the taste and the memory, the taste and the feeling, the taste and the space that it puts you, they go together. And if we can deal with that, deal with the space, deal with the memory, then we don't necessarily have to worry about the stuff, the food. Because it's not about the food. Right? It's about the calm. It's about the thing that it does for us. Awesome. All right. So that's the heat model. Remember that you have unlimited potential. We shared that as we move into the future, we'll be talking about limitless living. Limitless living means that there's nothing inside of me or around me, outside of me, that's going to prevent me from getting what I need in terms of my health. It's not going to prevent me from making the decisions. I'm not going to hold on to memories. We're not going to hold on to the past that causes me to be so frustrated, causes me to be so sad, causes me to be so depressed, causes me to be so angry that I eat as a way of pacifying, as I eat as a way to buffer. Right? That's inside of me. I'm not letting your conversation with me, letting the way you treat me. I'm not letting the frustration that comes with my interaction with you push me in a direction to buffer. So nothing inside of me, nothing outside of me is going to prevent me from doing my health goal. That's limitless living. There are no limits to where I can go. It is unlimited. I have potential. I have unlimited potential to make a change and to chart the course of my destiny starting right now. Okay? And remember that everything that we're doing is built on that platform, the Triple E formula for success. Education, empowerment, and encouragement. We educate with the podcast, with the blogs, with the shows that we do. We empower with the tools that we're learning, and we're learning lots of tools. Get in there and jump in. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we encourage with the community that you are a part of, the community that we are building, the community. We had a community meetup tonight. Make sure you join us for the next one. Remember our pillars. The pillars are we decrease insulin, we suppress appetite, and we reduce sugar. If we do those things, we set ourselves up for success in the diabetes space, and we set ourselves up for success in the metabolic space because it extrapolates to that. Another powerful tool is balanced bites. Remember, every bite counts. What we put in our mouth has an effect on our mentation, effect on our hunger hormone, effect on our satiety, on our fullness, the hormones that are being created, our thought process. It is all affected by balanced bites. Every bite counts. We're fueling our body by that. If we fuel our body correctly, then our body has the potential to take us where we want to be in terms of our health. Remember, we're minimizing processed foods. We're sticking to whole foods as much as possible. We're decreasing added sugar. We are having starchy and non-starchy vegetables, appropriate portion sizes, tasty and flavorful foods, and we're making sure that we are having lean protein and, of course, healthy fats. Okay? That is what balanced bites are. When you come, join the challenges. Get in there and practice. As we go through the challenges, make sure that you're doing the things you need to do to learn and put into practice the things that we're learning. You cannot, in the moment, do the things you need to do if you've not been practicing. Let me say that again. In terms of our health, it is not oh, I'll do it when it shows up. No, that's kind of like driving down the road and saying, when I get into an accident, I'm going to put my seatbelt on. It has to be a habit that you get into so that when the time comes, you can apply the things that you've learned. So jump in there, get in the challenges. When you show up, tell your story. Tell us the successes you've had. Tell us where you're having great benefit, where you're losing weight, where you're getting off of medication, where your blood sugars are better, A1C is better, doctor took you off of some stuff because you got better. You're improving your metabolic health. Share those with us. When you have struggles, when you have places where there are humps and bumps, let us know that as well, because we get to rally around you as a community. We get to support you and say, hey, we want to go with you. We want to help you succeed because we are leaning on each other. I lean on you, you lean on me, and we move through the process together. And then invite someone. Don't just keep this to yourself. There are over 1 billion people on the planet with diabetes or pre-diabetes. You can be a voice of change. You can share it with your family, with your friends, with your community, with your doctor. Say, we don't have to keep going out like this. Our family doesn't have to keep having heart attacks. We don't have to keep losing our limbs. We don't have to keep going blind. We don't have to keep going on kidney dialysis. We don't have to continue getting larger in our frame, putting on weight, getting fatty liver. We don't have to keep doing that. And you can be a voice that says, hey, let's do it differently. So invite someone to the space. As always, I'm always happy when you are here, when I get to come and hang out with you and be in this space. We will continue doing our check-in tomorrow as we do our review of fasting, where we talk about what are the ways to get ready for the fast, how to get through the fast successfully, and then, of course, how to break the fast and make sure that we're maintaining the benefits that we have. I do see a couple comments, so I'm going to do that really quickly. And then we're going to get out of here. So let's see. Let's see what we got. Just got home. Okay, so we saw Teresa say she just got home. We're talking about eggnog with Jiyeon. Okay, so Jiyeon says, she says, thank you, doctor. You helped me a lot, so many ways. So many ways. So thank you for saying that. So in this space, we are working together. We are moving in the space together. As I always say, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. We'll see you at our next episode as we do our check-in. We'll see you on Saturday also for Video from the Vault, and then Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Central for This Week in Review. And then we're right back here next week as we talk Dwain Woode MD Live, Monday, 7 p.m. Central. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at the next episode.